What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan. This is Neomustangs, and this is my Foxbody Mustang channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the top 5 cars that I miss the most. As some of you guys may know, I've owned quite a few Mustangs in my time, and there's been some cars that I wish I would have never let go of. Some of you guys could probably understand what I'm talking about. We all have those regrets, and we all have those cars and those items in our life that probably should have never really got rid of it to begin with. But I'm going to take you down memory lane with me. I'm going to show you the top 5 cars on my inventory that I wish I still own today. Make sure you comment below, hit that like and subscribe. Tell me which one you thought was the best. Let's get into it. All right, so number 5 on the list is Project Bumblebee. I called it Project Bumblebee years later because obviously it's very yellow. Now, Project Bumblebee is a 1989 Ford Mustang Coupe 5.0 original. This car was picked up in Taylor, Michigan for about 600 bucks. This car literally had kind of a crappy paint job on it. I don't even think it was base clear, but it ended up being pretty nice after I got done sanding it out and such. As you can see here in the pictures that I'm going through, it was kind of a long process and it was kind of a long build. And most of these cars that I'm going to show you today, I'm basically going to narrate and show you some of the pictures. We pulled this car home with literally a tow dolly. It had brand new anthracite COBRA R wheels, which I'm a COBRA R wheel guy, so I enjoyed the car. I liked the car and I liked the way it looked. When we got it home, we immediately put an engine in it. We had a crate motor sitting on the floor. We painted it to match the car. We put a 5.05 speed in it, or we put a 5-speed T5 in it that we had from another car that was a parts car. Was because I brought it back, and it was literally one of my first coupe builds that I had did years ago. And I regret getting rid of the car because the car was just so solid. That car could very easily be where the black or the white car is sitting, maybe in a different color form or what have you. So we're gonna keep rolling on. That was my number 5. That car ended up going back to Taylor, Michigan to a different owner. He did a bunch of work to it, put a bunch of suspension mods on it, and it actually got a stroker motor. Number 4 is going to be an interesting one. This is the one that I found that was a patrol car that nobody knew was a patrol car. It was a 1992 Ford Mustang 5.05 speed coupe, and I believe it was from Alabama if I remember correctly. Now this car was solid as a rock. Obviously you can see the clay underneath of it, and in Ohio that's not something that a lot of people understand around here, is that some of the dirt down there is like a clay color. I found this Mustang at an auction. Every Wednesday in Northeast Ohio, there's usually a handful of auto auctions that are going on. And they used to be pretty predominant until the internet and social media started really hitting. I picked this car up for like literally $800 from a guy who had, you know, the guy was so big that he broke the seat in. The car ran really good. It actually didn't look very good. It didn't look like it was healthy, but it was rock solid. I can change seats. I can fix motors. So the car being solid was like the most important thing. And it was funny because I went to make a deal with the guy, and the story I gotta tell you guys, I don't even think he knew what he had in the car. And he come up to me and he said, yeah man, this car runs good, blah, blah, blah. It's got a stroker motor in it, and it's got what's called a Pro-Go clutch in it, and it's super good, and it can hold like 1,000 horsepower. And I'm like, man, come on, bro. Be reason. I ended up cutting a deal with the dude regardless of what he said about a Pro-Go clutch. Got the car home, was going over the car, noticed the DMV tags, noticed the title said former police vehicle, and I was just like so excited. I ended up flipping the car. I think I sold it on eBay for like $3,000. Rock solid. I don't know where the car is at now, but this is probably one of the cars that I would have, just because of the heritage being a police vehicle, that I would still have in my stable today, no doubt. But again, that's what this video is about. I'm showing you some of the top 5 cars that I've owned that I wish I still had today. And that's definitely probably one of the top 3. Number 3, good old Sonic. Actually, the funny thing is I just named that vehicle 10 years later, just now. Sonic was a 1989 Ford Mustang 5.05 speed coupe. Factory original 5.05 speed car. I found this car in Ada, Ohio. Had a cage in it, had some rust in the quarter panel, but the pans were solid as a rock. This was probably one of my biggest builds to date, from ground up. Paint, every nut and bolt. I mean, Hot Wheels was tough, black and white cars tough, but this was one of the first ones. I actually have a pretty cool video right here in this thumbnail that shows some of the Mustang progress. Sonic, we rebuilt the T5, we rebuilt the whole motor. I literally went over every bolt in this car. I was inspired to build the Sonic because of a friend of mine here local. Now, some of you guys that are my friends here that watch my YouTube channel know who I'm talking about. Probably always had one of the fastest imports and one of the imports that made the most horsepower in Northeast Ohio area. And he's pretty well known for that. He had a Civic that literally was Sonic blue pearl, the Honda color, with powder coated white wheels. I'm pretty sure he still has that today, but regardless, that Honda used to make like sick amount of horsepower, and it was super fast that they had to make special axles for his car. And I wanted to run that theme back on a Foxbody just to see what it would look like. Naturally, I had COBRA R chrome wheels to put on it, but I figured I had a set of COBRA R's that were kind of nasty, so I had them powder coated. And I thought it came out pretty good. Sonic was probably one of my favorite builds. It was one of the first cars that I painted. Well, second to the most part, is when I first bought this house about 10 or 15 years ago. We painted it right here in this garage, and it came out really nice. Never really got a chance to test Sonic at the track. Well, this is before we really started getting really serious with racing at the track. So this comes in at number 3, and is probably one of the cars that I never should have got rid of. I ended up selling this car on eBay for about $8,500 back in 2008 after I finished it. I actually ended up trailering the car to North Carolina to the new owner. But to date, it could easily be one of the cars that are in my stable right now, replacing the white and the black car. Again, all these cars that I'm showing you are cars I no longer own. They're not on the channel anymore. And I've owned so many of them that I'll probably end up doing another video like this. The Canadian Cobra. For real. For some of you guys that don't know, a Canadian Cobra is basically a Mustang GT that was made in Canada. My black Mustang is a Canadian Cobra. Not a real Cobra, but it says it right on the title. Cobra Mustang GT. But that's for a whole nother video to talk about. This is number 2, is a real Cobra. I call it the Canadian Cobra because that's exactly where we pulled it home from. Canada. My buddy Mustang Mike, who's here on the channel, went and picked this car up for me. We got it to the border and it didn't have a title. So apparently when you buy cars in Canada, they don't have titles or they have bills of sales or something. And when you come back to the States, then they issue you a title. I don't know. It was really crazy, especially when you're spending 10 grand on a roller. We had to buy this car. We found this car on Facebook and we decided to go pick it up, me and Mustang Mike, and we decided to go ahead and rebuild it. I just so happened had an Explorer block, which is basically the same pistons and block that are in a Cobra for the most part. I had a set of 3-bar original Cobra heads. I had an original Cobra intake. I had the Z-Spec trans. I had all the parts to put this car pretty much back together OEM style. And it was crazy project. Paint was really nice. Interior was original black. Car was solid as a rock, well taken care of, but it was beat on a little bit. Wasn't perfect, but it was a nice Cobra. We did a lot of work to this car. We didn't modify the car really at all. We actually brought it back because the guy originally had a big Tremec in it. He had a big stroker motor in it. He had a different axle in it. And we pretty much put it back to what it was supposed to be as a factory Cobra. Just so happened I had been saving Cobra parts for a long period of time. I was able to actually restore a majority of this car back to its Cobra status. Today, I probably wish I still had it. There's actually another car that's like it. It was my Celine 1989 Vert, which you guys haven't seen on the channel yet, but I got rid of that car years ago. It might be in another video, but this car here definitely would have been modified here at Neomustangs, and I probably is a good thing that it didn't stay here because it would have had a big turbo on it or something, and I'm not real sure I'm down with that as a Cobra. I ended up selling that car. We ended up getting rid of the car for about 12 or 13,000 when we were done. I lost some parts in it, but the main thing is I got to restore a Cobra. Not perfect, not super professional, but I got to put it back to its original status. The guy who actually bought the car was here in Northeast Ohio, but to date, it probably should still be here at Neomustangs, but it's probably a good thing it's not. And that's what leads me into the number 1 car that I miss the most, as there's been so many, but I have to say this one. And last but not least, Project Hot Wheels. For those of you that just joining the channel, make sure you check out this link right here. I got a whole playlist about Project Hot Wheels. Project Hot Wheels is probably one of the best rebuilds that I've done And the whole project behind it, and the reason why it was called Hot Wheels is because it looked like a Hot Wheel. It had black wheels, it was sonic blue, just like some of the other cars that I've owned, and it was a pretty amazing car. But let me tell you the real story behind Project Hot Wheels. Picked this car up in Erie, PA for about $3,200 on Facebook Marketplace. It's one of those things that were like, this car's got a turbo on it and it looks really good. Why is it so cheap? I guess I found out the hard way. I went up there in a snowstorm to pick this car up. It was sitting in a garage that the door didn't even work. It was falling down around it. Had to pick it up in an alley in the middle of the city, which was hard to maneuver around. It was just terrible. The car ran, it had a knock, it had a chopped up on 3 kit. But it had potential. It was solid, it was clean, it had a really good paint job. I was happy with the price. I mean, it was $3,500 and it had a running turbo kit on it. You don't pass that up. But if you actually watch through the playlist, you'll see one video at a time. Transmission was a 4-cylinder, broken. The motor ended up having a number 5 rod that was bent. I ended up making a video of me building the motor that's currently in the car now. 500 horsepower motor. Right here's a link. Building the engine and the turbo kit and the transmission and the axle and the subframe connectors. We brought Project Hot Wheels back to where we took a stock motor and ran 10s with it. Full weight, full interior. All we did was do the mechanical engineering part of it and we tuned it. $458, $515. Now, Project Hot Wheels comes in at number 1. I probably missed that car the most, and I call it the underdog, and I'm saving it for the end because that car was in a major accident. For most people that are really picky with Mustangs, they probably would have looked at that car and said, forget it. If it's hit, parted out, crush it, it's gone. But I gave that car a chance, and it ran its 10, and it's still one of the most predominant cars on my channel that I've done thus to date. I still miss that car a lot today. I still wish it was in my driveway, but it's probably better it's not, because I would have been spending all kind of money on it like I am with Dad's car that I shouldn't be, and I should be paying more attention to my black and white car, yada, yada, yada. So where's Project Hot Wheels? Sean's taking really good care of it. He's a subscriber here on the channel. He bought Project Hot Wheels and he has it in his stable of Mustangs not too far from me, and he enjoys it all the time. So racing it and having fun. But we made that car better from one part at a time, just like we're doing with Dad's car. So, well, that's it for the video today. Make sure you hit that comment below. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We have a club membership here on the channel. It's the join button below. If you're interested in giving something back to the channel, it helps support the channel and all the projects and stuff that we do. We also have a merch shelf too, if you're interested in that. Outside of that, I super appreciate everybody for chiming in today. I hope I didn't ramble on too long. Sometimes you just got to make videos of who you are, where you've been, and the journey to get where you're at today. Again, if you haven't had a chance, hit that like and subscribe below. I will see you soon in a new video. Keep those projects coming and keep the wheels straight.